Hi. So, welcome. If you are joining us, this is our day 4. And earlier, if you were with us earlier in our summit, we would have been to Guatemala, to Ecuador. And now we are coming back up from South America and we are going to the city of Guatemala, where we are going to be presenting Nicole Kristmann. And Nicole, welcome, Nicole. How are you?
Good morning. Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you.
So Nicole is the CEO, she's the founder of Soul Shine Guatemala. And Soul Shine, it's a luxury travel provider, but very, very specific in that their focus is empowering indigenous communities and connecting the communities and travelers. So I'm going to let Nicole share all about what she does in Guatemala, and then we'll come back later with for time on questions and answers. Nicole, the space is all yours.
Hi, so I'm Nicole Kristmann, and I have been coming to Guatemala for 15 years, but living here for 10 years. I didn't actually come to start a travel company. What I did was I came to give, and it turned into a philanthropic experience. My background is in architecture, high-end interior design. So I came to Guatemala 10 years ago, and I started just in helping the local communities. I ended up wanting to give back to the country. I had created a saddle pad company. I was coming to Guatemala to buy fabrics, and I wanted to give back. And I found 50 kids that were starving in the jungle, that their parents had been killed by landslides. And that kind of started my journey. So I started helping these children, and with they had nothing. And so I had to integrate myself into the community. And I think mainly what I want the message that I'd like to get across here is, yes, I run a luxury travel company. I know how to do luxury travel very well. But on this journey, I know all of you are making money in travel, but what I want the message to be is take the time to go to the communities that you are visiting or your clients are visiting and helping. With me, it was total immersion into 22 villages that I was helping during pandemic. So after having the kids and then pandemic hit, I was one of the few American or few people that knew how to do two things. One was driving money, and number two was to actually know what these communities needed. I work with the Mayan indigenous communities, and I know I'm talking to people that are all over the world. So you have different communities and different needs. So I was able in pandemic to know how to feed thousands of people, and I knew what they needed. Just an example, like I'm from the United States, and people that would come here or lived here would be giving out tuna fish and peanut butter where they needed mezcal, they needed corn, they needed rice, they needed beans. So I was a natural fit that I fed thousands during pandemic. In my background now, I went from these Mayan villages to another village that has 125 working tour horses. And during pandemic, they were all starving. Basically, after a year of no tourism, 125 horses and 250 families were starving to death. Most of the horses were almost dead. So I stepped in and brought in 15,000 pounds of concentrate or grain, food for 250 families. And then I started doing that over and over and over again, 9 to 10 times. And I was like, wait a minute, I know luxury experiences from my architecture background. Let's make this a sustainable tour. So what we ended up doing was, of course, creating a nonprofit. But even before that, I started integrating the community and advertising these tours. So the profits went back to the community, the horses, the welfare of the horses, the dogs, the children. So in your business or in your community, I think that everyone should take the time to get to know that community. And I don't mean just like, I hope my internet is working okay. I hope that I would think that you definitely, spend many hours with this community, find out what their needs are, find out what their local culture are, find out what their local customs are. Because I face this daily where you have people that have PhDs in all of these things with working with to impose their ideas. And a lot of them are not, they have nothing to do with culture, or they don't help people. They don't know what the children need. A child in America that speaks English will earn 80% more income. So when you're able to provide English lessons for that child, or you're able to provide a community school. In the past year, we built a community center for my kids, English lessons. We bring in different kinds of food sources. We do book bags, supplies, all of those things. That's one community. The other community I work with requires something completely different than that. They need tack for their horses. They need medical support. They need dental support. So you need to go into that community. And I think this is why I've been so successful is I don't just walk into the community, hi, how are you? Bring them lunch or whatever I'm going to do or start giving. Try to find out what their needs are and go to give. So if you kind of know that they need books, that you kind of know that they need English classes, you come in with everything for 2 to 3 times and you go and sit down with them and give. And it's going to cost you some money. But once you do that, you gain the trust of this village. You gain the trust of these people. And even if these are employees, let's say you're doing tours to the beach, you find out what the local community is. Who are your tour guides? Find out what their families are, what their needs are. And then from that, you can take a certain percentage of your tour and do the funding so that that goes back to the community. But I can't stress enough that you're in each community that you work with and each tour that you do, you should have a mission statement. So you should sit down with your team and say, okay, we've gotten to know this community. We've given to this community. And then you sit down and you do a whole mission statement of how you'd like to help this community. And what this does is you come in, not just, okay, we made money, we're doing tours. You come in with an act of love and a vision of how you're going to help this community. And you actually know because you've talked to them, you've been with them. And then what we do in our communities is we have a WhatsApp chat group, and most of them have internet of somehow, or they know somebody that knows how to reach us. So at Pacaya Volcano, where we do our luxury tours, we take people to the volcano, we rotate 125 horses. We have 70 to 100 people in a chat group. When a horse gets sick, when a child gets sick, when someone gets on a motorcycle wreck, we're their first call. When anything happens in the community, they know that they can reach us and reach out, and we have a fund for that. And we're the first one to answer. We're the first one to be there. And that's what your team should focus on. And not only that, it makes the beauty of what you do so much fuller and richer in your work life, in your interaction with them every day. And then let's take that to the client level. So your client comes in, you already know the community of where you're bringing your guest, whether it's on a volcano or whether it's, around the beach, any of that. You know the whole community there. You know the children there. And I say, okay, we're Philanthropic Travel. All of your profits are already going to, which I'm a complete nonprofit. I don't take profits off of what we do on our luxury travel company. But let's say you do, but you say a percentage goes. Then you ask them, do you want to interact with the community? So we do a day of giving. we if I'm doing a 7-day tour, or even sometimes just a 1-day tour, do you want to do some giving? So then I ask the clients, okay, part of your tour is going to this anyway, but do you want to give more? So maybe if I'm with 8 people, all of them give $100, that's $800, which is nothing to most of our clients. And then we go buy food packs, or we see what the village needs at that time, and then we have the clients distribute it with us. We let them meet the village with us, because if you don't know the villages, or the people that you're working with, or the indigenous people that you're working with, to bring these gringas in is horrible. They don't want you to take pictures. They don't want anything to do with you other than get your money from working, but you're friends with them already. So you're bringing your clients into that. And we do luxury experiences all over Guatemala. And when we do 7-day tours, we're taking them on ATV rides. We're going to spas. They're going on our luxury horseback tours to the volcano. And when I ask them at the end of the tour, what is your most favorite part of that whole experience of 7 days in Guatemala? And they're always the day of giving, the day of working with the kids, the day of helping the kids, going out and shopping for all these groceries. I mean, we actually take the clients into like our little local grocery store and do food packs, or we're going to buy school supplies with them. Next month, we're loading up 60 kids, our 60 kids, and putting them in a fleta, which is an open bed truck with the clients. We're taking them all to the village and buying 60 pairs of shoes. Our clients will help fit them, of all these children. And then they're coming back to the village, where we'll have, this, as you can see on the photos, is where we load up all the kids and we give the clients, we say, okay, one client, you get 5 kids. You have to fit them for shoes. And then your tour goes to pay for this. This is truly integrating in the community and making change, but also for your client, it gives them such a rich, full cultural experience. They're in the village. They're working with your people who already know. They're almost like family to the people that you're giving to already. The children know you, and then your clients walk away with a really, boots on the ground, grassroots experience that they can really take home. And then there's one other thing with that. So once they've done all of this and they know this, and they have tons of friends, all of their friends want that experience too, or it's very easy for them to give more money back to you to say, hey, this is for the kids. Or we just had a client that came last year. They want to come back this year. And you know why they want to come back? They want to bring their kids and show them what they do. So of course, we provide the luxury experience for everything. And I don't impose religion or any of my views on these villages or the people that are there. I work with the Mayan culture that's indigenous. They have their own culture. We do shaman ceremonies. We do all of these things. But the one thing that I do absolutely believe in is meditation. So before I go on any of these experiences, or to, even if there's a disaster, like I do a lot of disaster relief, I meditate before, and I get just a very clear view of where my place sits within this huge community of beautiful people that have embraced me and my team. So I think that's something you should sit down with your team and really have a clear picture of getting to know these people and getting to know what their actual needs are, not just peanut butter and tuna fish and dropping off school supplies and, oh, we got this fun. Let's build this community center for them. A community center. Maybe they need doctors to come in. Maybe they need dentists to come in. Building them a playground when they actually need a classroom that teaches trades, that teaches English classes. So please get to know your community, your employees that might be working for you in these countries all over the world, and know or ask your employees, ask your guides, their local guides. They know the communities. And so that's basically what we do. And I work with 22 villages all over Guatemala. And we have a clinic right now at Kaya Volcano. And we also have like a community center at the orphanage where we help these orphans. And then right now we're building a 7,000 square foot stable. The reason I mentioned horses so much, we work with the working tour horse, and one working tour horse supports a family of 7 to 10 people. So that tour on the volcano and coming back. So what's the most important thing is to keep that horse healthy, because that horse supports that family. If that horse dies, that family just lost their job. So, and these are the things I'm working in the community and know. And these communities will protect you. They will, I can't even tell you, I want to cry when I tell you how much of a blessing it is to be, to help these communities, to be there. And like, we just had our whole clinic flooded. The whole village showed up, and the ladies were sweeping, the men were there shoveling out dirt, everything. Be a part of the communities that you're working in and helping. Okay, so if you have any questions, I don't know, Vienna, but I mean, I can keep talking and saying more about what we do. I mean, I come from a very uh, large background of luxury. I was an interior designer, architect, and so I knew luxury travel. I know all of this. I've worked in corporate America. So sometimes it's really hard to pull yourself down to this level, but I'm asking you to please try in every tour that you do and know your people.
And Nicole, wow, definitely again, the presentation in Ecuador and your presentation are two presentations that literally take the student in the tourism industry out of the textbook into real life practice. I mean, you've literally broken down, I think also a personal transformation from what you've done, where you've been, and what you've walked into. You're clear about how you want to serve, you're clear about what you want to do. Can you, like, if there was a timeline or a process line to describe, or from the move from corporate to service, community service through business, because people, they do need to survive, and how can they incorporate their survival and what that business model looks like, so that um, people can actually understand how all the working parts come together. Could you shed a little more light on that?
Absolutely. So I understand that people from the corporate level are, walking into this, they're doing the luxury tourism. So create your tour, but as soon as you create that tour, I don't care what it is. If it's taking people to the beach in another country, create that tour and then immediately go and live in that area. If you don't have the money, stay in a hostel. Get to know the people there, get to know exactly if it's different parts of the country that you're working in, get to know those people, those guides, get to know their families, get to know their children, ask them what their community needs. And that's the simplest thing that you can do, to go spend 2 or 3 days there. Even if, like, my Spanish is horrible, I live in Guatemala and my Spanish is terrible, but if not, then take somebody that's a translator with you and just go in each of the experiences that you do. And be real, go into that community and talk to them and look at how they live, go into their homes. You'll be invited to their homes, dirt floors, and they'll bring one Coca-Cola, never turn down any food or anything, and sit with them, get to know about them. So if you're trying to transition from corporate, travel, luxury travel, take the time when you go on these tours, do the tour or meet your guides, but take an extra 1 to 2 days on each experience that you give to absolutely get under the skin of the country that you're serving or the tour that you're doing.
I hear two things that come up like really, really clearly when you share and your passion. One, experimental, live the experience. Come,
Mhm.
live the experience. Nothing compares to that. Even in education, we are understanding the transformation from just the memorization and the things that people did before, as opposed to project based learning, bringing the experience into the classroom so that students actually get to know what it is like to go into the community. But there's also something that you mentioned in your talk about that you're also grounded in meditation. Meditation is
Mhm.
something that grounds you as an individual. and it centers you. You know, that is part of Nicole's self-care, Nicole's inner reflections. In one of our podcasts, in one of our chats with the speakers, you know, we had I think it was our day 2. We had a presentation on working on our inner development goals, working on what we want as an individual, to kind of understand where we intersect as a community, as part of this global village, as part of the global village. Because I when I hear you say experience, come experience it. And that mindset, that mindset that I want to ground me, I want to be part of the community that I live, I want to be part of this global village, I want to, you know, extend myself more. How, what was it for you that you said you traveled, you said that you visited different places? What was it for you that led you to starting meditation, or was it always part of your life that led you to that reflection?
It's always been a part of my life. It's always guided me. And I wouldn't have been able to do one single thing that I've done with all of helping all of these people doing all these things if I didn't meditate every time, especially during pandemic. I created with the help of two very talented videographers, but by meditation, that said, make a video about what you're doing about feeding thousands. White flags were going up all over Guatemala. And I did a meditation. They're like, make a video about it. That video ended up bringing hundreds of thousands of people into money into Guatemala. So what happens is our life is so fast, and we get in corporate America and we get that,
Yeah.
and we don't take time to slow down and actually listen to our inner guidance. And everything that I have been able to do, whether I'm going on a rescue mission, whether I'm starting a new project, I take the time to sit down, meditate it right immediately when I come out of meditation, exactly what I heard, what I feel. And this is a process that you must do daily. But everything that I have done and that I've created, or everything, I think that you can't just be out in the world and listening to podcasts and listening to school or listening to corporate retreats. I think you have to go within, and then you will get these beautiful ideas. And people are like, how have you done all that you've done? I mean, because there's some pretty like big things that our organization has done that astound me. And I always say it's from meditation and just have one idea. If you have one idea, just go there. Go there. If the idea can be just go there. And when you go there, the universe will show up and it will absolutely provide all the people, all the resources, all the money, all of that. But I would say if I had to mentor anyone, meditate every single day, even if you can only quiet your mind for 30 seconds to 1 minute in a 10-minute meditation. Eventually, you're going to start getting these ideas. And so, you can climb corporate ladders, but you know what? Put your ladder on your own building and have your own ideas.
Wow. Very, very inspirational. I think today, our day 4, I would say, has been one of the more inspirational parts of our journey, and to invite our audience to, you know, to look into this. I think, you know, I've been an educator for over 30 years, and honestly, part of me, I think I from working on different projects and wanting to be action oriented, was always about how do we, you know, move from the education, what's the outcome. I think it was a training I received years ago, and it was all about the goals. What is the outcome do I want? When I educate these young people, what do I want to see on the other side? What would their English be for? What would it, how will they use it? And then I started becoming even more mindful about the words that I shared in the class, the words that I wanted them to take back with them, that when they were going to declare, or if they were going to affirm things about themselves, what would that affirmation look like? And it sort of evolved into a very mindful way of how to use language, be it their language, their first language, or their second language, or the way that, you know, it's a tool. Sharpen your tool and you can use it, even if it, you know, for whatever reason you have to. And that was kind of my walk with it. And I do believe in what it is you are sharing. It is the experience. It is the experience of connecting with each other, connecting with, understanding that you're coming from the United States, you're coming from a different world, yet you're in the mountains of Guatemala, you are connecting with a whole different community, and your passion for that community is coming off, like it's just exuding off of the screen, like, you know, um, it's you. You are
It's
it's when I say you in the sense of it's connecting to the inner development goals. It's like the decision starts with us. That's what I mean. It's not
that's
flattery. It's not it's not adulation.
no.
I wanted to say that it starts with us. It starts with that decision that we make to change, to
Mhm,
want to be part of something bigger. And you are
mhm,
demonstrating with your work a process with how people can do that. What works in
mhm,
Guatemala, what we've seen in Ecuador, what we've seen with other presenters who've shared with us. But all of the transformational things that I've seen and heard in regenerative tourism right now in this summit, it does begin with us as individuals, where we are, what we
mhm.
want, and how now, like how the Nicole's organization, how you connect, how Floor's organization connects with indigenous communities, how other presenters, how they connect. So we're seeing multiple patterns of connecting with communities. And I think that's one of the really valuable assets of this summit. It's a really, really valuable
I think
because
if
I
you
think people are
can,
getting
if you have a
many,
passion. Yeah, come with love, come with love. If you have a passion in your heart, you can learn all the things about travel, corporate America, all that kind of
yeah,
thing. But when you have the love and the passion for the people and for what you're doing and who you're helping, just that alone, just coming to give instead of to get. If you can get that and know that with your students, if you can teach, go to give. And you know what? Everything gets dumped on you that's so beautiful. I can't tell you how beautiful my life is. The communities I'm in, the people I'm in, you just get because and then everything shows up for you. Your travel experience with your clients is better. Everything about you is better. So I think in teaching, that's the one thing is you can't get that passion sitting at a computer screen, or I think even in a classroom. You got to go and find and travel around and do that. And I've done that, but I think that's what exudes from me is because I take the time to get to know myself and then what my goals are out of this, which is basically to help people. And yes, we have brought in
yeah.
a lot of money by helping people, and our tour company is thriving. It's astounding to me. But that's not, I started this to give. I didn't start it to create a travel company. I started
Wow.
it with my heart.
Self-awareness. I think that's so loud. The experience and self-awareness. Nikki, I think you've presented to us the power of self-awareness, the power of knowing yourself and knowing what you can do, and then go live your passion. That
Mhm.
these are my takeaways in this, know thyself and then go live your passion, what that
Exactly.
self
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Um, Truly amazing. So definitely, Vienna, what would you like? Do you have a question for Nikki? For Nicole,
Oh,
sorry.
I love Nikki. She has been a great mentor for me. Like, I'm so lucky also to have her. Like, she has taught me so much. Nikki is really an amazing human being. Like, I can really, I know and I can tell that she does everything with her heart. And she really, it teaches what she preaches. I don't know how to,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
she
yeah.
does what she preaches. And no, definitely I'm always amazed of everything she's doing. She's always active, she's always, if there's something in the community, she's always there assisting. And that's why when something happens, like she said, something happened to the clinic, all the community came and helped her because she's always there for the people. So when something happens in her company, in her with her horses or something, all the community also assists her. That's a great example of doing things for your heart, not because of your heart, because of God, no, and it will all give back. No, it's something. Yeah, you sow what what you
You
plant.
reap what you sow, yeah.
Ah,
Hmm.
you reap what you sow. Sorry. Thank
And
you.
the
Oh,
same
no,
thing,
that's
I
okay.
mean, with
What you
you,
sow.
Vienna, I mean, watching you grow and watching you create all this, and look at where you are right now. And
Oh,
I know you meditate, and I know you have the same beliefs that I do, and so
yeah.
much of it. And that was our big connection.
Yeah.
But
Every
ultimately,
morning. Yeah.
it's not just for me. It's not a community. It's a country. I go all over this country when there's disasters of Guatemala. So it's
Yeah.
not just, and don't limit to yourself. Just because you're doing a tour here doesn't mean you can't go to different parts. When they had a disaster at the beach, I go to El Paradon at the beach. When they have a disaster in different parts of the country, I go because I know what to do. So, but
Mhm.
it's been a beautiful experience getting to know Vienna. Now you, Suzanne. And so I think, yeah, so I
And we're
appreciate.
looking forward to have you in your podcast too. And there we can talk a bit
Yes.
more. It will be super nice. I love
I
talking with
have a
you.
lot of questions, but I'm reserving them for the podcast because,
Yes.
Okay,
So you can talk
a little
hours
more
with Nikki.
background. There's a little more intimacy on a podcast in terms of how we share and the things that we talk about. So there's stuff that I would love to, but definitely I would, and I think this has been coming out of like the stuff that we've been planning with Vienna. And I said, we truly need to present this to the universities and the ones, and I say this online again, and I will repeat it because I do believe that we need to get our heads out of just the books, and we talk project based learning, but sometimes there's always, when something becomes fashionable, it becomes watered down, and there's a superficial, let's get it done quickly kind of commercialized version of it that comes out. And I don't want that. I believe in transformational learning. I believe that if we're going to do something, it ought to produce something that is effective and can connect. That is how I connect with my students, help them build real things that if they want language with purpose. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to do? And it gives this notion of acceleration, but truly they're just talking about what they're passionate about. So it's their own passion
And also
driving
not
their
just
language. So they think that they're moving faster, but really it's that passion. So we want to
and
take
also
this
not
before
just talking.
universities.
Sorry. Also not just talking, Susan, but also action. Like Nikki is a person of action. Believe me, she's every day
Well, that's
in
where we're going
action.
at
So
with getting into the universities. We
yeah.
want to get into the
So
universities so
yeah.
that the
She's doing
young
things.
people in well, that's what we're getting at, V, that when we get to the universities, that if you're producing professionals that are going to come out, then we have individuals like Nicole, like Flor, like Isis, like these individuals who are literally, we are building community connections. We are building models of shared prosperity. We are literally living the experience.
Mhm.
What more? When I mean, the vision and the dream is to do this in person next year. So imagine to have students from universities to meet with you guys and be able to camp campfire chats, fireside chats with you, where they get to hear these experiences directly from you. I think will be truly impactful in
Yes,
terms of
and
impacting future tourism
It will
yes,
development.
change the
and not
world.
just yeah, not just
Yeah.
students. The truth, because Claudia and my co-founder of Baloo Travel and I are always talking like, oh, our dream is to go and volunteer for Nikki, for a few weeks, and yeah, and be there with the horses, with the people, the community, learn from Nikki. Like that's our dream. Like we haven't been able to make it the dream come true, but I hope in the maybe some next time we can go and stay there and volunteer. That's
We would
something
love
that
to have you, but just
that's
start
a
within your own community. You're in Honduras, so just start there. And then call me
yeah.
when you have, questions about anything. Just start there
Oh,
wherever
you
you
have
are.
to come to Honduras too. Yeah,
I was
here.
really looking forward to it when it got canceled. I even bought all my, because we're,
Yeah, I know.
halfway boots here.
I
I even bought summer clothes to come to Honduras. So I'm ready. So
oh
yeah,
yeah, we
absolutely. I
were
was so
all
excited.
Nicole, what
upset.
part of Guatemala are you is your the clinic? Where are you situated? What part of Guatemala exactly?
I'm centered in Antigua, which I don't stay here much because I'm everywhere, but we have Bacaya volcano. So that is an active volcano where we take our guests. We have a clinic there. We're getting ready to build a, we got a grant from an IT company, which is fantastic. So we're building a 7,000 square foot facility there, also at Lake Atitlan. And so Lake Atitlan is a lake surrounded by 7 volcanoes. That's where I have my
Wow.
55 kids. And that's where we do a lot of outreach work there as well. And then we're also getting ready to move into El Paso. We're going to be doing some tours there, which means I will not do, this is the thing, when I'm starting a tour there in like the beach, I won't just go and bring horses and start a horse tour there. First, I have to connect with the community. So I've already spent 3 to 4 days with the community. I will go spend 2 to 3 weeks to 4 weeks with the community before I even put a tour there, because I want their support on my tourism there and what I'm doing, and to
Wow.
know the community and how can I give to them. And if I go there and find I can't give to that community in some way, they don't need what we provide, I back away, because that's not how I want to work every day. I want to
Does
be able
Soul
to
Shine come
help
in a
them.
book? Nicole, does Soul Shine come in a book? Does this all of this have you started writing your memoirs about this your entire experience or not
Oh,
yet?
good. I know they have all these AI books now, because I probably should start doing it, because we have so many.
Yes.
I mean,
Bestseller.
if you just follow us right on Facebook, Vienna, it's like every day is the
Yes.
adventure. I don't do social media well, and every day something's going
But it's
on.
very authentic. I love your social media because it's you. It's very
Well, yeah,
authentic.
a
And
horse
I
is
love you post what
written
you're
by,
doing.
yeah.
It's what you're doing, it doesn't matter if it's not a professional camera. It's authentic. So, oh, and last time my niece came from England and we took her to Puerto Cortes. And in front of the place where we were, like it was like a little resort that we were there with the family, enjoying some drinks and the beach. And there was a guy that was on a horse, with a horse, no, giving tours, like horse tours on the beach. And I was like, oh, Tali, to my niece, do you want to go on the horse on the beach? Blah. And she was like, yes, yes. And then I told him, hey, we want a horse ride. And I started to talk with Jimmy, no? And he reminded me so much of you, because he was like, yes, well, I work with rescued horses. I rescue horses. I have a refugee. It's called La Bendición, the blessing. My refuge is called the blessing. And yeah, I rescue animals when I find them in the streets. And I'm a guard. He was like a safety guard. So he said, but half of what I earn, I invested in the animals. I use it for to take care of the animals, and since it's not much, then I do the horse tours in the beach, because then I get more money, and then I can also invest in the horses and in the refugee. And he also, because horses eat a lot, no, of grass and everything. So he said he also went and cut grass for free to places there that had a big big land, and that he to get this grass and take it to the horses. And I was so impressed, like, also, like, you could see his passion, no, for taking care of the animals, for rescuing them, seeing, going over his possibilities, no, to give them like the best life possible, take care of them. Oh my god. And I was like, also like, I want to see how I can help you. And he was like, yes, but he told me it's been difficult with the horse tours, because the local government is always kicking me out. They want to me to pay them for taking the, and I'm like, how is
This
it
is where we get
possible?
involved
We
with things like that, when we have locals that have a problem. And do you want to hear a really funny, quick story? So
sure.
Incredible.
we had one guy that was managing the park, and he was doing terrible things. I manage 125 horses and 250 families. When you start doing stuff with those families, so this one guy, the mayor was electing him to be director of the park. And so he was trying to kick off the lava store, our lava chef. He was making all these rules for the guys that they couldn't abide by, they couldn't afford to. So you know what I did? I'm an American. I had to stand back. I lined up 40 horses. I went to the dollar store. I got signs put on every single one of them, and we galloped horses around the municipality building. We
Uh,
brought the news in, we brought everything in. You know what? 2 days later, the mayor called, he wanted a meeting, and the director was thrown out. So when you're talking about your little guy like that, that's
yeah.
how I would go help him. I would go talk to the municipality. Why are you doing this? He's trying to make a living. He's making a difference in your community. But that's how I knew, because of my cowboys, that's their living and that's like his living. So this is how you can help him. You have probably more pull than he does in a municipality or the
I
people
love,
that are trying to do this. This is what we do. What
We
we
yeah,
have been
I love
calling,
it. Nikki, you're amazing.
we've been calling out on our podcast and inviting local government to come and sit at the table with us. We've been like on several of our podcasts because we recognize also that we cannot do it alone. I think um every collective, every tour operator that we have spoken with or interviewed that talk to about connecting in community, they we also understand the power of local government, that autonomy that is occurring within them, and to be able to connect them, to be able to talk to them, to even get the local government to become self-aware of how they can truly empower their community by facilitating things. I mean, we even talked about in one of our sessions, there are like certain areas or zones where there isn't Wi-Fi. So like for people now, a lot of people to pay for services, they're paying for services via wire transfers, or they're making direct deposits because if they have access, they can do that. So we're like, how can we get the local government to recognize if they can do that, then they're facilitating ways for the local community to receive payment. And because other than that, people would either have to have cash, and people, when it comes to safety, they're not really operating with cash anymore. It's like, how can we find suggestions or compromises that facilitate local government to do their part, and that the people can benefit, the community can benefit.
I,
So
I,
again, we're
I,
calling
can,
them out.
I can speak on that for an hour. Yeah, I could
Yeah.
Yeah.
speak on that for an hour. But what we do have is we have like one person in our organization that handles. He's like a social butterfly that can make everybody friends, everyone friends, you know. And so when we have conflict or anything with Latin America, you're never going to change the government, and you're not going to get their support, and you're not going to get them to come in and actually give a lot of money. You're never going to get that done. But what you can done is you can manipulate, right, Vienna? You can manipulate the people, the officials that are next to you. So you have that one person to go in and do that. When it comes to bringing in money and things like that in two different countries and donations and things like that, there's different ways to go around that. And that's like a system I'd have to break down and tell you what we do, how we do it. But just know that in your travel organization or anything, or learn, you have to have that one person that is from that country. They know
Yeah.
some political science, and they have to be the most fun, beautiful person in the world, that they can look at you and tell you, get lost, but they're smiling and they're going to take you out of your office. So that's what we have, luckily, in Manuel in our organization. He's our guy that does that. Most wonderful, beautiful man. You love him, but he will walk up and say, we're going to call in the news media and we're going to take all this if you're hurting the villages. So that's what I would say about the governments, and the governments in Central. I don't know about in Africa and all these other different places, but you don't really go head to head as a travel company or what you're doing. Don't try to get there. Don't try to stand on any rights doing it. Change the little things that you need within the community with the
Yeah.
local officials. It's going to get you more anywhere than you're taking on something that's going to, it's a losing battle, is what I found. And I've been
Definitely.
doing it for 10 years. So yeah, if you try to
Yeah.
change things
When
on a
we
big
Great
when
scale,
we have
advice.
just
Great
the
people
advice.
organization.
around, people
I
get
think that
tired. That's
I
true.
think
Yeah.
that has been one of my biggest pains in Honduras, working with the government, because I want to do a lot of things, and they just, instead of helping, they not with El Salvador, actually with El Salvador, they have been very supportive. like they have made my life easier, and that's why I love selling El
Oh
Salvador.
yeah, but remember El Salvador also has had a change of government, so that's different.
Yes,
So it's like
the
it's
in the
we don't want to
security.
go down the rabbit hole of apples and oranges.
But in
Right.
with
Yeah.
Honduras government, they say, oh yeah, they say one thing, then they change their mind. And also, like, I was recently on a content creator tour with one content creator that I brought from the Netherlands, another one from South Korea that is Bulgarian, but is expert in destination promotion, so that they could promote El Salvador and Honduras. El Salvador gave me all their support. They were there for me, you know. The minister of tourism, I spoke with her. The consul was always like, you know, is everything okay? You need anything? They let us do footage where it was supposedly we couldn't do inside. They just said, be careful because of the birds, do it fast, you know. They were super supportive because they want to promote their country. And in Honduras, I was in Tegucigalpa in the Picacho. And when we tried to do the footage for the Picacho, for the Picacho price, there's like a price. They said we had to pay 5,000 lempiras, like $300, to do the footage. When I had already spoken with the Ministry of Tourism and everything, and I was calling the Minister of Tourism, the Vice Minister, I was calling everyone, and they wouldn't answer, like never, like and I was there like trying to tell the people, like, you know, we're doing this to promote the country. Actually, you should pay us to do this because we're promoting, we're actually doing your job. So we're investing. I'm already investing like $9,000 on this trip. So can you please help us and just let us do the footage, because we have a drone like from National Geographic, like drones and special cameras and everything to make amazing footage of the place. No, it was impossible. They didn't let us, and I was so angry because I was like, you know, if you're not gonna help, if you're not gonna invest, if you're not gonna support, at least don't bother. At least let us do the things. Let us, you know,
It does
way
break,
to
you know,
promote
it
the
is
country.
heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking because Nicole, you recognize the kind of things that we deal with. I am also from Trinidad and Tobago. I'm not from Honduras, but I've been living here for 25 years, and I've been trying to make changes and trying to get content into public education that facilitates and really, you know, can help based on evidence actually, you know, facilitate certain things. It becomes heartbreaking, you know. You get tired along the way, and then you have moments like this, like Regenera Travel, where you meet people like Vienna and connect with people like yourself who are doing amazing things, who are walking the path of mental resilience, who are finding, like you said, in those quiet moments of meditation, the strategies that come to us of what can we do. So it was heartbreaking when our event could not be in person, but then we have this whole doorway that connects us. We can't go to Ecuador right now, but we visited Ecuador this morning. We could drive to
But we
Guatemala
will do
and
it.
then
We will
we
do it.
were
Hopefully,
in
the next.
Guatemala this morning, and then we
Yes.
were able to go to you know, all these. We were in the US on Sunday morning, and then we were in the Netherlands on Saturday. So
Yeah.
it's like we've been able to do this virtual global trot, and it's very engaging because I think hope is something that persons who live passionately and want to work will always encounter red tape. There's always a red tape. It's you. There's always ignorance that is there. And I think, you know, we've seen what anger does in terms of how it just, you know, you can do the protests, and I'm tired of, you know, the burning tires, and they keep doing that. Sometimes I think, you know,
No,
is it
no.
anarchy? And you know, I think it's like some people love reigning in chaos because it allows them whatever it allows them. But 25 years in Honduras, from 2000 to 2025, I can say that I have seen this country transition from an embryonic stage of development to, like, I can see the fetus that is like it's growing, and it's growing, and there are new opportunities. We have a larger bilingual workforce. There is a larger community of professionals that are coming out. You have more university graduates coming out every year. You've got amazing female entrepreneurs because statistically we've had 7 to 1 in terms of 7 females to 1 male in classes. So you've got all those equipped young women coming out. And we're trying to balance so that the young men don't feel lost in that, but you've got these amazing, bright, creative, professional community coming out. That all those assets are available. And I think for me, what I've seen is that they lack opportunities. And this particular module, in terms of foundations, opportunities, and impact, which is the first part of how the curriculum, I would say, of the summit was designed, we have that. Regeneratravel.com, you can become a part of the members area and have access to not just the content that you're seeing right now, but an opportunity to have a conversation with someone like Nikki, have a conversation with someone like Vienna, have a conversation with Flor and Responsible Travel in Ecuador, meet with Isis and Choose Honduras and the bird watching festivals. And there are so many amazing opportunities that sometimes when we're battered by the red tape, or we're battered by the things that don't work out, or the shock of exorbitant costs for things that like make no sense, then you realize I'm going to stop and take a breath, and I'm going to look at the people like you guys that give us that sense of hope that we can, hey, what if I reach out to them? One of the superpowers of Vienna that I think I've seen her do while collaborating on this project, and I tell her, is I love on the podcast to talk of her origin stories of how she met each individual. I was not, I would say that I'm not a big believer in the email communication, but Vienna kind of restored that a little bit in terms of, no, it actually works. This happened and that happened. I'm thinking, so um, the ways in which connecting, I think that young people who might be despondent about what opportunities do I have, or persons who are retiring, coming out of a corporate lifestyle, but they don't understand, they're frustrated, they want to do something different, they don't want to do more of the same. What can I do? And we're hoping that our watchwords in the summit are educate, inspire, and connect. These are the three things that we are hoping to get everyone to do. One, raise consciousness. Nikki, you brought it so clear, self-awareness. My moments when I meditate is what grounds me, is where that one singular idea, and I get up and I move with it. And then connecting, reach out, connect with the communities. We don't live in a bubble. We can come together, sit with someone, speak with them, talk to them, and you live the example of what it is you're saying. So it's not just talk. And this is something that I want in education. Enough of the theories and the million books of how to do things. Get out of the book and start, that marriage of practice and theory, because sometimes theory is just that, it's just theory, and the minute you start living it, then things start changing. I love the example of when you said bringing tuna fish sandwiches for people. My husband is Honduran and he hates tuna. I may love a tuna casserole, but he hates it. And it's like, oh my god. And you cannot you can share something, but we can't expect people to help in the way that we think it ought to be. We do need to listen to their needs. What are their community needs and how that is different, even if I don't understand it. But I do
The
have to have,
worst the worst thing that I heard, I mean, I had a client that came in and he owned a spa at the lake. And we're talking about an indigenous Mayan community. They wear the ceremonial garments. And I'm standing in front. He said, yes, yes, yes. I gave to the lady that helps me. I gave her a massage. I mean, I had like an American woman give this Mayan indigenous woman a massage. I was like, are you kidding me? That was the most embarrassing, horrible experience of her entire life. Whereas you and I would think, oh, this is
yeah,
fantastic. What
yeah,
he was asking her to take off her clothes and to expose
oh,
herself.
yeah,
This is how I'm telling you, you have to get within these communities and know these things where
completely.
you think
Yes.
it's perfectly fine when you're in the United States. Oh, let's just gift her a pedicure. That's horrible for
Yeah.
her, these things.
Um,
And so
and
I think that's, yeah, everything that you're saying is so true. And I think also is that you have to get that passion out in there, and in the communities. You have to do that, and off the even the podcast or the computers or that kind of thing. Nothing's going to enrich your life more than doing this, and then
Oh
that
yeah.
enriches your
we have
job.
to go visit you, Nikki. You have to come to Honduras too.
As soon as this computer closes, I'm racing to my truck. There's a horse
Oh,
just got bitten by a snake bite that is doing well. I'm going out in the field for that. I'm going to be on
no,
top of the
beautiful.
volcano, remediating damage. So yeah, that's what your life can be like, and not just, all these theories, but then the universe just shows up and it's so beautiful. And the red tape, it happens. But you don't
Yeah.
notice it happening. You see it and you're like, okay, let's meditate, and then all of a sudden your vision and everything changes for you, because the people show up to help you with that red tape. And that's kind of
Yeah.
what I want to say. Don't get caught up in, if it's political or if it's this. Yes, I have challenges every day. But I'm just like, okay, let's just find the most positive way that we can do this and then just move on. And I think a lot of the kids and students and even people starting these businesses, they think they have to, of course they need some education. They need a lot of education, but they need to not get bogged down in all of these things, like talking about politics. No, we just look at the politics, what we do, we can with it, and we
Yeah.
move on, so you don't let your life get
We
bogged
move
down.
on, definitely.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
just
gonna
wake
stop
up every
us.
day.
Pivoted from in
Pivot
presence
is
to online, and it was like, can we do this? Can it get done? Is it enough time? Oh my God, with the people. But you know what? When Vienna reached out, everyone said yes. That was the most
Yes,
amazing.
Nikki
If
is
there's six
always like,
yes,
oh,
well,
Nikki's.
let's take that yes and let's see what can we do with that yes. And
right.
we're in day four. Day four, people, of our Regenera Travel Summit. And we are, this is going to be fuel for us to work towards an in-presence event for next year. But really, Nicole, thank you very much for your example. Thank you for taking the time to
I'm
share with
really
us.
grateful.
Thank
Thank you
you
very
Thank
for
much.
you for having me. Just to get this message across
It's always
to many
beautiful
people
with
makes me
Nikki.
feel amazing. Yeah. And I'm
Um,
so excited about next year. I'm coming
hearing
anyway.
first.
Even if something gets canceled, I'm coming to Honduras anyway. I'm super excited about
Yes,
meeting.
you have to come. Here you
you
have a
know,
house, Nikki. I told you. Whenever you wanna come, I will I want you to come. We have to we will organize, because I will also want you to help me, like maybe we do a workshop or something, and I bring all the community from here, from Honduras, that is in tourism, so that you can also give them some coaching or some workshop or
there's,
something, because you know
there's this
so
little
much.
town, Nikki, that's not far from us in San Pedro Sula. It's called Cofradia. And in
Mhm.
Cofradia, I mean, I had the opportunity, I had the blessing to visit Antigua. And oh my God, walk through Antigua and the plants, the flowers, the picturesque. I mean, it was beautiful. But then when I visited Cofradia for the first time, which is not far from San Pedro, and cobblestones and small spaces, thinking, why isn't this? We have a little Antigua
Yes.
right here, but all it needs is a little touch of paint, a little bit of something. Like, how do we get the community to live their experience in a, like just to live their experience a little bigger? So, consulting on things, because there are so many small towns
We
here
will
that
bring Nikki to help
literally
us
um,
develop. That's
have a new
development.
vision, you
Yeah,
know?
it's
Do you know what
having a vision,
a
and it's
community here
doing
did?
them. Mhm.
So one of the communities at the lake was not getting attention, the villages, and so they had guests and tourists come paint Mayan symbols on the buildings, and be a part of the tourists were part of building that village. So there's many things
Wow.
that you
Oh,
can do like that. Yeah, where the tourists are painting Mayan symbols. I mean, they had the templates and things for them, but you're able to, when the tourists came, they wanted to come to do that, to be a part of the architecture of the community. So there's many things that you can do to revive small places
you
like
are a
that.
wealth
Yeah,
of creativity and an
it's
excitement
amazing.
of knowledge. So definitely looking forward to our podcast session.
Okay,
Definitely looking forward
Yes,
to it.
me
it's
too. I can't wait to also. So yeah. Ladies, thank you so much for having me here today, and big hugs to both of you. Suzanne,
Thank you,
so great to
Nikki.
meet you.
You
And
too, Nicole.
yeah, and just anybody that would like to reach out to me if they're starting anything, you're welcome to share my information, even my WhatsApp. I'm on it all day. And even if it's a student that has a question, I'm happy to answer any questions or talk to anyone. You know,
Thank
the
you.
You're
key
the
is
best, Nikki. Thank you
spread
so
the
much.
joy,
She
you know?
really is. She's really is always available. Sometimes I call her with a doubt or I need some advice or something, and she speaks to me like for 2 hours. She has me on the and she's like, you don't have to do stuff, but I want to coach you.
Yeah.
I want to give you all the information. So don't worry. And she, yeah. So I love Nikki. She's amazing, and she's always like, if I'm busy, it doesn't matter. I'm always there for you. And I'm like, yes, I know, Nikki. I know you're always there for me. She's so sweet.
Well, just make yourself available to for other people to learn and do like what we're doing, you know? So that's important, you know, to have that
Oh, I
one-on-one
love you,
contact
Nikki.
with a lot of people. Okay, guys, have a beautiful day. I'm off to see a baby horse. Okay. Okay.
Bye. Bye. Well, my
Okay.
friend, we're gonna wrap up now. It was a success.
Yes.
What a beautiful podcast. So
That's good to know.
bye bye everyone.